my lesson plan is going to be a little more unconventional compared to normal lesson plans. We are going to play a game, and I'm going to use Bloom's taxonomy to structure my lesson plan. And I'll begin by getting them to understand what I want them to know for background knowledge. So I'll be playing some audio clips of people that they should recognize, and getting them to see if they can guess who they are. And then I will continue using Bloom's taxonomy to help them understand what just happened. And then we'll merge right into the game. And the game is one where there's a person in the middle and everyone else is in a circle around them. And the person in the middle is blindfolded, and they point at someone in the circle and call the name of an animal. And so then the person they're pointing at has to make that noise that the animal would make. And the person in the middle is trying to guess who they are. If they guess correctly, then that person is in the middle next. So it's kind of a circular thing. And during this, I'm going to use the things that we've learned in class to help facilitate the game. It's kind of difficult to be a helicopter teacher because you can't tell the person in the middle what to do. They kind of just have to decide what to do. And you can't tell the person that's making the noise what to do, because then the person in the middle knows who you are. I also have to be careful in picking the physical climate. So I've chosen to do this in your living room because that's a place where the kids will be comfortable and more likely to enjoy the time. I also have to be careful watching the individual physical state and anxiety levels of everyone playing by watching their cueing, because oftentimes when people get uncomfortable they will put cues, whether they mean to or not, they send cues to tell how they are feeling. It will build off of their schema because people, the individuals playing will know each other. And there will also be some people that they're not as familiar with. They will know what's in the schema of their friends, what kind of animals they know, what kind of noises they normally make. It's also going to be a test of self-efficacy because those that are chosen to make the animal noises may not believe that they know what that animal makes, whatever sound that is, or may not believe that they're capable of making that kind of noise. It's also an issue of imaginary audience because the people making the noise often imagine that there are people surrounding them that are there judging them when there really isn't. It's a bunch of friends that want to have a good time. This also, what happens commonly is the person in the middle will often have a failure to retrieve. So even though they know plenty of animals, they know what the names are, they know what sounds they make, they won't be able to remember them because the pressure will be on them, and it happens all the time. So that's one other thing that we're going to have to deal with. While I'm explaining the game to them, I will be able to use both information and control language to help them understand how to play the game and what ways are the best. Another thing that this particular lesson works a lot with is Erik Erikson's psychosocial stages. So it deals with trust versus mistrust. Are the players going to trust each other to be able to have an atmosphere where they can kind of make a fool of themselves and still enjoy it? It works with autonomy versus shame. Are they free to express themselves, or are they going to be ashamed? Initiative versus guilt. Are they going to jump right up and want to play, or are they going to do it just because the crowd is doing it? Industry versus inferiority. Again, are they going to do it, or do it because someone else tells them to? And another thing that I find especially key in teenagers, is the identity versus confusion, where they're still trying to figure out kind of who they are and how they're going to react in different situations. So this will be a good test of that. And also intimacy versus isolation, where it's kind of up to them how far they're willing to let their friends in. Are they going to be themselves and put themselves out on a limb and play the game and enjoy it, or are they going to be afraid of each other, pushing them away because they're scared of being judged? After the game, I'll ask a few follow-up questions to get them to tell me whether or not they understand what just happened and why it happened, and help them to understand how that could be useful, again using Bloom's taxonomy to analyze and evaluate the situation, the lesson that they just had. They're going to teach me on that aspect. And then I'd like to tie it back in at the end to the Spirit and how God talks to us individually, to help them realize that sometimes you can hear a voice and you may not recognize who it is, but other times when you're more familiar with that voice, you know exactly who it is and you know whether or not you can trust them. And then to kind of wrap it all up, I'd like to use the create stage of Bloom's taxonomy and have them each set a goal and make 1 to 2 plans on how they're going to use what they just learned specifically to apply to their lives. So that's going to be my lesson, and I really hope that they enjoy it.